This program is for educational purposes only. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. Statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We're honored to continue and welcome to Daily with Doc and Becca. This program is for educational purposes only. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual sharing their testimony. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to have the founding father of the science of epigenetics guiding us with the best options to obtain or maintain optimal health, Dr. Joel Wallach. Welcome to Daily with Doc and Becca. This program is for educational purposes only. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual sharing their testimony. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to have the founding father of the science of epigenetics guiding us with the best options to obtain or maintain optimal health, Dr. Joel Wallach. Welcome to Daily with Doc and Becca. This program is for educational purposes only. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual sharing their testimony. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to have the founding father of the science of epigenetics guiding us with the best options to obtain or maintain optimal health, Dr. Joel Wallach. Welcome to Daily with Doc and Becca. This program is for educational purposes only. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual sharing their testimony. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to have the founding father of the science of epigenetics guiding us with the best options to obtain or maintain optimal health, Dr. Joel Wallach. Welcome to Daily with Doc and Becca. This program is for educational purposes only. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual sharing their testimony. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to have the founding father of the science of epigenetics guiding us with the best options to obtain or maintain optimal health, Dr. Joel Wallach. Welcome to Daily with Doc and Becca. This program is for educational purposes only. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual sharing their testimony. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to have the founding father of the science of epigenetics guiding us with the best. Everybody, let's open up that door and let everybody in. Dr. Wallach is calling me saying, what's the delay? What's wrong? What's going on? But hello and welcome to Daily with Doc. And thank you, Doc, for calling and checking. It just shows how much you care. As yes, even the best of times have technical difficulties, but we are just going to go hoo-ah and keep on going. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us here on Daily with Doc. My name is Becca Dukes, and as the hostess of this show and also the director of student services for the Institute of Holistic Health, it is my honor and privilege to be able to create a resource not only for our students, but our community and you as a whole. So today we are honored to be able to have one of our amazing guests that we've had in the past. We get lots of requests wanting to know, when is she going to be back? Because what she talks about is affecting millions, if not billions of people around the world. And we are going to be shedding some light on how food interacts with the receptors and transmitters within the brain, which then can lead to pain. So I'm super excited to be able to have with us. And oh, before I get started on that, I got to keep my housekeeping going. If you were invited by somebody specific, make sure you get back with them. They took the time and cared enough about you, knowing that there's something within today's program that is going to speak to you in giving you empowerment and hope that there is a better health journey waiting for you. So if you're not in any pain and you're not experiencing any health crisis, you're listening because you probably know who is experiencing those type of things. So please share this program with others as we are doing our part to help individuals understand what is causing poor health conditions, and not only understand them, but provide solutions. So today we have with us one of my good friends, my dear friends, I consider a sister, who is absolutely fantastic, amazing. Yvonne Ray. She's a functional medicine practitioner. She's a nutrition practitioner. She uses microcurrent and is a microcurrent pain specialist. She is board certified. Is that board certified with microcurrent pains as a pain specialist, or
yes,
immunotherapy for the brain?
I am certified for amino acid therapy for the brain as well.
Okay, so she has lots of board certifications in addition to being a certified holistic health coach. Now, she is former military, and she has worked with the Pain Free for Life beta testing research, where microcurrent protocols are developed, Erasing Pain Holistic Centers, where she assists in training interns, and as the nutritional director. She's a team member at Theta Wellness Brain Health Center in Sacramento. As an educator, she teaches weekly classes on nutrition and the use of frequency devices to expedite the healing curve. She also volunteers to work with other clinicians to broaden their scope of knowledge and research. Quarterly, she travels and presents the impact of nutrition frequency devices for natural alternatives at home pain relief. So it is my honor and privilege to have Yvonne here with us. She is such an amazing individual and with a heart that truly, truly is for helping individuals find what they're looking for when other modalities, mainstream, have not provided that. Yvonne, thank you so much for joining us today.
I'm honored to be here. I really am. It's a delight to just bring something that oftentimes, these therapies are hidden, just like you and Doc and this whole community often recognize with nutrition, how many of the therapies of nutrition are hidden.
Oh, absolutely. And one thing that I love about what you do is it's not just a therapy for this, or it's not just nutrition for this, but you really marry the two. But on top of that, you teach, you instruct, you are an educator. So whenever we understand the way things are working, I think it has an even greater impact than when we just tell somebody to do something. Without them understanding, they're not going to know the importance of why they need to do what is being recommended.
So agreed. I think you've heard this story, about me before. I asked so many questions that, in Sunday school, I got asked to sit out in the hallway on the bench. I think the teacher thought I was trying to challenge her, but I had some information, but I was looking for, to line those threads together of what she said to what I knew.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, even in the military, when I was in boot camp, I asked one too many questions, and those gals, they actually tied my hands behind my back. They were like, "We just want to get out of here."
Well, I love the fact that you don't let things like that stop you from moving forward and finding the answers that you're looking for. So, so many people are dealing with pain. Can you enlighten us on what causes pain? What's underlying cause of pain? What are things that add to that inflammation? And then let's go into some of the solutions and things to consider when we're going through, including our food.
Certainly. Well, I think it's important. I'm going to give you different pieces of information. The first thing is when you have pain, unless the tissue is going into an atrophy state, kind of going asleep, kind of dying, there is usually pain. And the precursor to pain is inflammation. So in the presence of inflammation, that will bring about pain. And then the next thing you want to be aware of is there's different types of uh, fibers pain fibers that will represent different types of pain. They're called A, B, and C fibers, and they carry different types of pain. Typically, an A fiber is on the myelination. That'll be pain that is often sharp sensations. It's fast. I just experienced that the other day. Don't know what I did, but my shoulder, ouch. B fibers and then C fibers. Actually, C fibers, they say most people have that dull, slow, or burning sensation. And those are typically associated with C fibers. They're achy and lingering as well. So there's a couple different types of pain to start with. And in the context of what I do using microcurrent and then other frequency devices, If I can drop that inflammation, I can move that pain and the body can begin to heal, because in the presence of inflammation, the body can't actually heal. I want you to think about those tissues. Like on your phone, we can go for those emojis and there'll be the fire emoji, right? So imagine underneath that fire emoji, you've got some cells, they're screaming, right? Well, we want to come in and first drop the inflammation, and I'll use my microcurrent. I have other devices like light, stem cells, um, terahertz, scalar, also known as quantum. And just so you know, quantum, the definition for quantum is small, or technically it's so small it's invisible. But I'll use these devices first. And then, because in the presence of inflammation, when we're trying to get our nutrition in, many times those cells are so inflamed, it can be hard for it to reach out and quench itself. Does that make sense?
I think it makes sense to me. Um, you're making a lot of sense, actually. So folks, really pay attention, because she's going deep and looking at this in a way that others have not explained it to you, most likely. So please continue, Yvonne.
Um, so, again, there's just a little bit about, what is pain? And this is just very brief, the different types of pain that could be going on. And no, just so you know, there will be, let's say, medications. So let me back up for a minute. We are spiritual beings. We're electromagnetic beings. We're chemical, we're emotional. The body will respond to sound, to light. All of these things can bring benefit to the body, or if in the wrong setting or amount, they can do harm as well. I typically work on the body's electrical of the system. And so by using that, I can quickly drop inflammation. And then for me, I always get them started on nutrition so that we can rebuild that missing tissue. None of the devices that, uh, as far as I see it, any practitioner uses can replace missing tissue. What it can do is it can take that burden off the body, and then we must add adequate amounts for the rebuild of that tissue.
So, Yvonne, we've heard Dr. Wallach talking about being able to rebuild and restore. Now, with that, we can do it through nutrition, or nutrition plays a big part, or what part does the nutrition play into it? But most importantly, well, I don't think anything's more important than quality nutrition, but how are foods affecting our ability to be able to break free?
So first you asked, what part does nutrition play? And then how does it help us break free? For starters, in my opinion, for most of us, it's the food that is the causation of the pain. Now, let me back that up. There are several things that can cause inflammation. Let's say, you've got tinnitus. Tinnitus can be one, viral. So there could be a type of pathogen that's creating the inflammation. It can be structural. I had an accident, or much like when we're looking at It's All in Your Head, you can look at that picture of the skull and we see what a normal skull looks like. And then we see one that is well, technically it's degrading, the tissue's degrading, but for bones, it'll actually get thicker. Now it's not stronger, but it's thicker in size. So think about it. My skull gets thicker and it begins to impinge upon any one of those 24 cranial nerves. Just as a reminder, you have two pairs of 12. They all originate in the brain. They run down the cervical. They continue. Six will come to the right arm, six to the left. They'll continue down the trunk, and then they wrap around and they're innervated with every organ in the trunk. They continue to go down the legs, six to the right, six to the left, all the way down to the feet. So if you're eating, or let me back up. So if you're in pain, there's a couple causations of the pain. And again, just to back up, that'll be either viral or pathogen. A type of pathogen can cause inflammation, um, structurally, and you could have had some type of an accident. So that would also usually be considered structural. And then there is what, many call aging. We would also call that degradation because the tissue begins to wear thin, like the myelinated sheath will become holy, right? They call them lesions. I'm not really sure why it calls a lesion because the tissue's missing, but it almost to me sounds like there's something that's been added. That'd be a great question for Doc, huh?
That is a great question because I was thinking the same thing.
Yes, yeah, but so when they tell you that there are lesions, anyway, I see it differently. And even when, I had assisted in autopsies while I'd never seen a lesion, we would see other types of lesions, and there was, added tissue to the body. So, when you have pain, what you have to first identify what's the causation of the pain, what's the causation of the inflammation, and then begin to recognize, like I use tools because those tools will shorten that healing curve. They're going to quickly reduce the burden from the body, and then I'm going to flood the body with high doses of therapeutic clinical nutrition. There's different names that people, use those by, but ultimately it is for the rebuild of that tissue. And so many of us, our food source, even when we're really trying, our food source it's not adequate. We know that, our soils are deplete of minerals. So you're talking to somebody who, in my opinion, we have to supplement to rebuild missing tissue. And that missing tissue oftentimes is directly related to your pain. And going all the way back, just depending upon if that's an A, B, or C fiber pain.
Well, actually, when I think about it and I reflect back on the people that I've helped with quote unquote lesions, that then they go for their scans and the lesions are not there anymore, it totally makes sense that when you give the nutrition and it's rebuilding and replacing those missing pieces, that the lesions would no longer be there.
Yeah.
So that's fascinating. I
Yeah, I
love
mean,
it.
I think, when they say lesions, and so like I actually, have a couple MS clients right now, that insulator, the myelin sheath. So if this is the nerve, you've got the insulator around it. It actually looks like Swiss cheese, but yet the client understands it, the patient understands it as lesions, like there's something additional there. And so again, while I haven't actually seen that, lesions technically are missing tissue. So
Now,
I
when
ask
I love that reference.
so I ask,
Well,
what's your tissue issue?
yeah. Well, I love that reference to Swiss cheese.
Yeah. Yep, it's a
Absolutely.
visual. It's a visual, and if you understand I have something missing, you know, you are more likely to really begin to. I'm going to use the word buy-in because that's what had to happen to me. You know, former military. You know, I was kind of the Jane Fonda of the hospitals, and thought I was pretty fit, while nutrition was very slim in that. Because I don't know why. Oftentimes, nutrition and fitness don't seem to go together. But I was working at the hospitals. I truly believed that you could get everything you need in those four food groups. Uh, but we can't. And so it took a while for that, understanding that buy-in to happen. And I think when people understand that tissue has missing or is degraded, oh, let me add to that to rebuild it. If you think about in your area, probably just like everybody else's, at night, when the freeways are not as, compacted with cars, our construction crew will come out there to repair the bridges, the roadways, etc. Our body does that similarly at night, but it can only rebuild what you have given it. So if you didn't bring enough, cement or bricks to the construction site, that part of it isn't going to be happening. That's how I see things.
I love that. Fantastic. So how is it that the food plays into this?
Plays into breaking
Pain.
free, breaking free from pain. Well, let's first just start with this. Um, We know that there are four basic tissue types of the body. And just as a reminder, that is epithelial, muscle, nerve, and connective tissue. And those four, type this into your Google when you're ready and you can check it out later. But the four basic tissues of the body. Well, Doc has put together this, but in a way that, the layman can kind of sort of understand. And that's the four health categories: hard tissue, soft tissue, digestive, and I call it
But
endocrine, but blood sugar, which includes hormone and endocrine system. So just know that all falls in that. And uh, uh, So when you first look at the four basic tissue types, and if you get to know those, you're going to understand the four categories, and immediately you'll know when you put food in this pie hole, if it's going to bring wellness and rebuild, or is this going to cause damage? Is this going to rob the body of nutrients? When I was in the military, um, uh, I want you to just think of, defensively, the body has its own Department of Defense. We have the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines, the Coast Guard, and they're in the different areas of the body and the type that are. But think about this, if I put something in this pie hole and okay, a battalion is 800 Marines, all right, and I put in, gluten, which is an inflammatory, whether you're sensitive or not. It is an inflammatory. It does create a biofilm, which smothers the villi. Again, whether you're sensitive or intolerant or not, our wheat is not what it once was. So if I put that in, half of the troops are going to go over there to try to defend what I just put in. So now I've robbed myself of getting that other half of the battalion to help either, I look at it this way, here's enough for me to just survive the day,
Mm.
just survive. Or am I getting enough nutrients in to maintain my current status? Am I taking in enough to thrive? Most of us want to thrive. If we look at uh, the the labels on many of the our
Like the
supplements,
nutritional panel?
yes, it'll give you the absolute minimum. We're talking you want to front load the body, get in enough to rebuild the missing tissue, and then you can come back to a maintenance load. But again, just coming back to your original question, how does the food play in? Because the food can either cause the problem in many ways. Ultimately, it's robbing the body of the nutrition because again, those nutrients will first defend before it'll give you enough to survive the day. But there's certainly barely any maintenance going on or even rebuilding. Does that make sense? You like that analogy?
I do like that analogy. And so, does it make a difference with the times that we eat food and the times that we take our nutrition? Because we do have a question in the chat right now. Says, so should we take things like collagen at night? And going back to your reference of the work crews rebuilding at night.
Yeah. So there are different ideas on when you should take nutrients. That is not an area that I feel confident enough to tell you with absolute certainty. But what I can tell you is that your body needs to rest. So many will suggest, stop eating 3 hours or so before you go to bed. And the purpose for that is it takes a good, 2, 3, I've seen research that says 5 hours, for your body to digest food. It will be about the individual's ability to, metabolize the food. So let's just say you do go to bed, or you eat shortly before going to bed. Your body is now working when it really needs to be resting and then rebuilding. The other thing about that working is, um, you know, uh, think about, I want to go to bed. I need my body to be sleeping, but it's digesting. And many talk about research shows us the actual energy output that the body does to digest. I've seen many state it's like climbing a hill, not a mountain, that'd be pregnancy, but like climbing a hill. So I'm going to bed, but I just put something here, and while I'm not in motion, your digestive tract is, and it's climbing a hill to digest whatever it is that you just put in. So I think that, we can certainly, get a panel, and I'm happy to get some more direct answers, but that's how I best understand that. Was that helpful?
I think that's helpful because absolutely, I mean, if you're eating right before going to bed, your body's still working.
It is. And think about the amount of work that your body does just to digest.
So let's talk about that whole digest part. You covered the gluten, whether you are sensitive to it or not. Thank you so much for whoever put me up. And how it is creating inflammation within the body. Do you have other things other food choices or group categories that are creating more pain or adding to that inflammation?
Certainly. Well, if we just want to look at the the good food, bad food list, the first thing you want to recognize is there's all kinds of good food, bad food lists. It just depends upon what you're focused on. Some will focus on nightshades, sugar content, gluten, right? But if we're just looking at what most of us are already familiar with, um, and just another one outside of gluten, well, oh gosh, let's talk about corn, soil, any of the GMOs, any of the synthetic sugars. Many people think, if you remember this, I want you to think about this with the gluten trend that's going on now. They're taking a small piece of food and wrapping it around all of this other synthetic processed stuff and saying, here is, you know, here's a pumpkin pie. Um, there's really no value there. So yes, there's many others. I'm going to just ask you to maybe even give me one, because my brain is probably moving a little too swiftly.
So you mentioned like sugar substitutes.
Mhm.
Sugar in general can cause inflammation. Is that correct?
Too much. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, our body needs a little bit.
Well, so let's talk about this. What does your body need? Your body is made up of proteins and fats. And you get enough proteins and fats, you can make your own carbohydrates. Sugar's a uh, carbohydrate. Obviously, we need various times different um, carbohydrate load for the workload that we're doing. Um, so, I've seen levels as low as, don't take in any more than 20 grams of sugar a day. The average, they say, is consuming something like, I'm seeing 100 plus grams of sugar a day. That certainly is not beneficial for the body. And if we look at, I'm trying to remember the guy's name. Is it Clive McKay? Give me a minute to remember, but they did some research on sugar, and I'm going to transition into the addiction of sugar. When you're taking in that much sugar, it will shut down numerous things happening, whether it's transference of or absorption of, it'll shut down a lot of processes. In this study, and they had a couple groups of rats. To one group, they gave them water and sugar. Another one, it was water, sugar, and food. Another one was water, food, and cocaine. And ultimately, there's a fourth one, but ultimately, they found that the group that had the water, food, and cocaine, the rats would eat or drink some. They would stop to eat or drink some. The rats that had the sugar, water, and food did not stop to take in water or food. That group died the fastest. That's how
So,
addictive, that's how addictive sugar can be. So while sugar itself, in my opinion, is useful, again, like anything else, it's in a smaller dose. And many will say if you're somewhere around the um, 20 gram mark, I've seen 20 to 40. But man, you
mhm.
start pushing that 40, I'd stop and really look at what you're eating and why you're eating it, and how the body processes. If your body is made up of proteins and fats, uh, uh, like our pyramid, and we've turned our pyramid around to where it says 65% of what we eat needs to be carbohydrates. As we know, technology is showing us something completely different. And when you eat like that, your body will show you. And I mean, it sure shows me. I know when I've eaten too much. Our body's talking, but we haven't been taught to listen.
Well, I know that from experience. I remember when the larger part of the pyramid were your proteins and your dairy, and then when they turned it into the whole grains, it sounds good, and I did it thinking that that's what was good for me, but that just increased my downhill more than a slide. It was like a race to poor health.
Yeah, yeah,
So
as with many of us. And then, they started opening clinics. Why are you eating so much of these bad foods? And, there's a psychological, and please don't misunderstand me. Not that there can't be an emotional component to why you might be eating a certain way. But if you take a look at just that one piece of research and you begin to recognize how addictive, sugars are. And then, of course, we have companies that, without, naming one that had some yellow arches, I believe they were one of the first to put a little sugar water brush on the buns because it tasted good. We wanted more. And then there's
it,
the
it
slide factor. Does anybody know about that?
the
They
what factor?
the slide factor. I mean, they have all of these scientists that, you've got this group that's concentrating on the sugar content, the content that Lay's potato chips, you just can't eat one. I understand they were one of the first to actually put real salt on some of their things because guess what? We started craving that. Your body will crave that good stuff, right? Or, they do it with sugars. But the slide factor, again, scientists over in another group, how quickly and easily does it slide down the back of the throat? That's actually a thing. And it's rated. Food will be rated for its slide factor.
Gotcha. Now I understand the slide factor.
Yeah.
Well, Yvonne, we've got
All of
15
that
minutes
causing to
left.
more pain.
All of that, yeah, goes down easy, and yeah, just in the long run, that easy is not necessarily what's best for us. Well, we do have questions coming in, so I want to make sure that we leave some time for questions and getting a few answers. There's so much that we can share and go more into this topic, which we do want you to come back and we can continue this conversation. Absolutely, absolutely want you to come back. So James is wanting to know if under 20 grams of raw sugar, okay. Now, that depends on what else he's eating, right?
Um, I would certainly look at it. Is he asking under 20 is okay or within 20?
Yeah.
So I
So
key in on words.
under 20 grams of raw sugar, okay.
Is 20 grams. There are many that say you want to stay under 20 or at 20, don't exceed 20. Um, Obviously, your body does need certain sugars for as an energy source. Again, that's going to be based on your workload. Think about this. Somebody who's sitting at a computer, a librarian, is not going to be required the same energy resources that a nurse might be required as she's making her rounds, a construction worker, an athlete. They will be required more. So think about the workload that you're taking in for the day. I personally try to stay at or below 20. And that's helped me to maintain my weight loss. When I did change from the higher carb food sources that I was eating, when I started adding nutrition, I'll tell you, my cupboards changed. I mean, like in 5 or 6 months, you could open my cupboards, and because when you satiate the body, you'll find that that sugar that you're talking about, you just don't have the same desire for. I can walk by a tray, especially during the holidays, and if I've been taking in my nutrition regularly, and that includes protein, you will find that I might grab one, whereas before I might have grabbed 3 or 4 here and walked back for 2 more. Life's too short, eat dessert first was my motto.
Yes, yes, it was mine for quite some time as well. It's crazy, different people's thoughts on food and the way that they consume food and where their importance and priorities are. I have 4 refrigerators in my home and 2 kitchens, and my kitchen is totally different than the other. Totally different. Yet I spend less money on food. So just
Yeah.
because I don't like all that junk and cluttering up my body.
Well, and when you stay away from it, you certainly start to feel it again.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's go ahead and go to the first question, and that is AJ with his hand up. Hello, AJ.
Hey Yvonne, how are you?
Hey, fantastic. Good to
You,
see
you
you.
you know that you're among my favorite people on the planet. I like Dan too,
Oh,
so
great. Thank you.
it's really good to have you on the show. My question has to do with some of the procedures that you do in your practice that help different things.
Sure.
I'm going to describe a few of these things, and I want you to tell us how you help people. One is kind of like the dowager's hump. One is the scoliosis, and the other, I don't know what it's called, but I think the technical term is crooked toe.
Hammer toe
Is
or
that is that a hammer toe? Is that
hammer toe or mallet toe are often used.
oh,
Uh-huh.
so that's what the okay. So number one, what are the techniques that you use? And two, about how long does it take an average person to get relief?
Okay. So if we're talking about pain relief, when I'm using my microcurrent, it'll be while you're in office. We'll drop your pain. I'll say 9 out of 10 will have a drop in pain by half or greater in the same session. We're working on the electrical of the body, and we're moving calcium ion channels, and we're tapping into your electrical, which then will move things differently than the chemical of the body works. And so we can very quickly drop inflammation. Now, we want to get to the root cause, but for Dowager's hump, there'll be a pain relief within the same day. The typical that I see Dowager's hump might be 3 sessions. Uh, for
Ex-
mallet.
ex- Explain what you just said. That means someone with a dowager's hump would be walking straighter in 3 sessions.
So Dowager's hump, also known as the widow's hump, today we call it tech neck for technology. Many of us are like this, and that C7 becomes stressed. Ultimately, what we see happening is that stress point, the body wants to come bring nutrients too. And many people with the Dowagers have either osteopenia, osteoporosis. So those bones will begin to develop hairline fractures, and or it could be addressing the tendons, which is on either side of that vertebrae. Either way, what type of tissue issue is it? Do you know?
Inflammation.
Hard tissue. Yeah, sorry about that.
I'm
I just
sorry.
had to throw that in there. So
Thanks, Becca.
we're dealing with hard tissue. We really are. But again, the causation is this constant stress. Right here on C7. So I will take my wand and my handy dandy NASA tool, and we just go over the area. We will also, this is has a computer chip. It also has a like a an EKG, right? It attaches, it finds electrical blocks. So much like an electrician, an electrician will go in and use his volt or ohm meter to check the outlet on your wall. Is there any electrical resistance or blocks going to the box outside the house and back? That's exactly what I do, but I'm going from the tissue issue to the brain and back, and then we get the brain involved also, because when the brain's involved, healing happens faster. So a Dowanger's hump, depending upon how old it is, how large it is, and how many of the vertebrae, it typically starts on C7 and will extend to either side, usually within about 3 sessions. For mallet toe, again, kind of the same thing. What you're looking at is damage happening to the tissue. The tissue is literally degrading. Oftentimes it's pulling, kind of like when you get oh, where trigger finger and what's the other one? It'll come back to me, but you also get it on your feet. It's called plantar fasciitis. That tendon work is, instead of becoming loosey-goosey like with scoliosis, it gets tight and taut and short. And so with mallet toe, it causes it to move, curve. Eventually, some of them will overlap each other. And then same kind of a thing, we'll come in with our device, and we first address the inflammation. Second, we'll address any scar tissue, because inflammation and scar tissue both are an electrical block. Electrical cannot go through them. So what happens is they'll go around them. So it's not addressing it. So that's the first thing we do, is address in that way. And then, did you ask about scoliosis also?
Most importantly.
Yeah, so scoliosis, very interesting. Here's how we're taught. And it's going to be, oftentimes people look at me like I'm crazy, but I have over 100 scoliosis that I've been able to help correct. And nutrition does the rebuild so that the body doesn't go back to that state. But I want you just to visualize your spine. Ligaments go bone to bone. Okay, so oftentimes first the ligaments start to degrade. So remember, I just said loosey-goosey. All right, so now they're a little bit sloppy. And then you have tension on the muscles. The muscles on either side of the spine are playing this tug-of-war game. Okay, and because your spine is loosey-goosey, you've got the ligaments, and then you've got the tendons that become, I'm going to use the word loose. The muscle will pull and shift those vertebrae out of alignment. And I've worked with people that had, 54 degree curvature, 57-degree curvature. And we've been able, that took about 8 to 10 sessions, but we were able to straighten the spine back up. She stayed on the nutrition for some time, and then actually she thought she was well, and she was. She went back to kind of her old eating habits. She did come back in to see me as things started to shift again. And I think now she understands what rebuild means.
Mm-hmm. And just because somebody, I think they put the hand down, but and thank you for that. But so how does that kind of relate to an Achilles tendon?
Well, Achilles tendon, in my opinion, is much like, oh, it's called Dupuytren's. Remember, I was trying to remember.
Oh,
Contracture,
yes.
gotcha. Okay.
Dupuytren's contracture.
Okay.
Again, that tendon is pulling tight and taut, and that's what Achilles tendon is happening as well. Ultimately, it is a muscle connective tissue issue, as Doc would call it, a hard tissue issue.
And what are the nutrients involved here?
Well, in addition to your essential 90 plus, I would add glucosamine, strontium, um, oh, I love MSM. MSM has it will aid in healing faster. It's got many properties, but it will definitely aid in healing faster. So, but yeah, outside it, so your essentials, and then I would do an extra dose of those.
Awesome. So strontium is found in the OsteoFX. There's the MSM Ultra that has the MSM, which are things that I took. And I personally have been treated by Yvonne, and I wish that I lived closer or that I was able to get those 8 treatments. But Yvonne, there were times where I had things out and you drew lines on my back. And just after that one session, you could see the improvements.
Yeah, at
And
some point we should show those slides, because
we'll do that.
to
Maybe.
get a visual.
Yes, to get a visual, because scoliosis has been one of the things that really affected my confidence.
Yeah, well, and I've
And
got several on my, between my website and my Facebook. So I even have a live one that's, I don't know, it's probably 6 years old, but it's somewhere in that
yeah.
Facebook. You can see the process. Yeah.
So Bill, did you have a question? We are at the top of the hour. We need to be respectful of time of everybody who's here with us. Bill, if you could unmute, that would be great. If you had a quick question.
I was only going to ask about the Zytoscan's iridology and hair on us mere mortals that cannot get to her. I could, but our listening audience. Zytoscan, iridology, and hair analysis. Is that any part of your practice? Thank
So I have a couple different scans. I do own and use the Zytoscan, and then I have some others for their full body scans. While I do not do iridology, or what was the other one that you said?
He just said iridology, Zyto, or hair analysis.
Oh, and so I do not do iridology, but I do have somebody locally. They're about 50 miles from me that does, they do that. And then the hair analysis, all my clients, I send straight to Dr. Milan in San Diego, and then we can read those reports when they get back. So great question. Thank you.
Well,
And
and those are all things that help us to know where somebody is nutritionally, where things are disconnected, so that we as certified holistic health coaches or health advocates, functional medicine practitioners can then know where to start, and then also have that as a way to monitor progress. So, but great question, Bill. And for those that can get to this Sacramento area, definitely look up Yvonne. So, Yvonne, how can people reach you?
Well, I can give you my website. That is the number 4, abetteryou2.com. And, or you can, my office line is 916-990-8907. I'm on Facebook. I'm not a, a social media person, but I try to do my best, and I have some live sessions in there so you can get a little idea of what microcurrent looks like and how it might, benefit you. Ultimately, though, none of the tools that I have can replace missing tissue, and I want you to understand how important nutrition is. And, I was talking to somebody about this morning. Um, if you believe like I do, God said, "From the ground I drew you." And in the soil is over 80 nutrients. And to date, right now, technology tells us, that we need 60. I think when technology catches up, we're gonna know that we need all of those minerals that are in the soil. And same with the microbiome. To date, something like half of what they found is in our body. I think that's just a beautiful sight.
And that's just not once or twice a year or a month or even a week.
Oh, that's
That's
daily. That's daily. Yeah, thank you for pointing that out. Absolutely, that is daily. We need those nutrients if you want to rebuild. Otherwise, you can certainly treat a symptom, but if it's the symptom that's going to just keep coming back, why bother?
absolutely. Do you have time for one more question?
I do. Thank you.
All right, Nancy, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Oh, I'm sorry. I could get it online. I just have a friend, 80 years old, severe arthritis, deformed hands. And so we can get to California, even though we're in Florida. So is that something that would be reasonable to expect to be out there for a month and have an improvement on her?
Well, to be honest with you, in my opinion, unless there's something that I don't know about, and we can certainly do a history over the phone, if you are already, on the nutritional program, that should be able to resolve it. It may not be quite as swiftly, but nutrition ultimately will be what I would recommend. Otherwise, you can reach out to me. There are colleagues that are out on the East Coast, and you don't need to come out here for a month. Worst case scenario, you can, purchase a home device, and it would be a whole lot less than you coming out here.
Well, she's from California.
Oh, okay.
She's only been here for a couple years. And but yeah, okay, so that was the thing. But I will look you up on that website. But because I have been on the program for almost 3 months now, and I feel like I'm not on it for arthritic pain, but I feel like my arthritic pain has not been it's been disappointing. Now my husband's great. His was fantastic. And he doesn't even take premium product, um, but anyway, so I will be looking you up. Thank you for your time.
And I just put my website in the chat, and I'm happy to answer your questions.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. And Nancy, it does take time. So where breakdown did not occur overnight or even in a few months, maybe the pain hit suddenly. It took many years in order to get there. So not that it's going to take years to get back, but it absolutely does take consistency and it does take time. Yvonne, thank you so much for being here with us today. And we look forward to having you on again as we go more into pain. And I want to hit those neurotransmitters and what
Of the
affects
brain,
the
neurotransmitters
brain.
of the brain. Absolutely. Let's rebuild. Let's get people happier and healthier, and yeah, let them know what is possible, what is available.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And if I could get my co-hosts on with me, as I would not be able to do this without them. And I just appreciate them so very much. I have Marilyn here. She is very, very busy with her fingers and keeping her nutrition going to keep her fingers going. As if you're here live with us and you have that chat open, you will see that she is taking notes and transcribing what is being said and putting it there. So, folks, if you're watching us on the live stream or on a replay somewhere, and you want to be able to see notes because you're not able to take them fast enough, Marilyn does a fantastic job to help you out with that. You can join us here Monday through Friday from 12 to 1 p.m. Pacific time, 1 to 2 Mountain, 2 to 3 Central, 3 to 4 Eastern, or is it 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. in South Africa? Or it's 8 to 9. I don't, time changes. But anyways, thank you so much, Marilyn, for all you do. We have one of the newest members to our tech team, and that is Kaylee. Kaylee's joining us as a student, bringing her knowledge in technology in helping us with the show. So thank you so much, Kaylee, for being here with us. And we have Ruth Ellen, our executive production manager, helping to keep the stream or pull it all together so that it can go out so that you that are watching the replay or watching the live stream on another platform see it in its entirety. Thank you so much, Ruth Ellen. And we have Rod, who is helping keep an eye on things and getting some traction and communications going out on those different social media platforms to help bring awareness to the show and bringing out points like Yvonne is amazing and is so knowledgeable and helpful. So yes, she absolutely is. And we have Albert, who is our head bouncer, letting people into the Zoom room. And that's a good thing, folks, okay? We put you in the waiting room, we let you in, as there are some people that don't want this information to be shared. So we want to make sure that we keep this as a family safe environment so that everybody can just focus on the content and learning what it is needed for them to create that better health journey and to share it with others. And then we also have, so thank you, Albert. We also have AJ. AJ has been very the driving force to getting out on all these different platforms, as we want to make sure that we're meeting people where they're at. So as the director of digital marketing, he has been very instrumental in helping make that happen, and is the reason why Kaylee is here today with us to help. So folks, thank you so much for joining us here on Daily with Doc. Thank you, Dr. Wallach, for being here with us as well. Greatly appreciate you. And we will see you Wednesday and Thursday of most weeks, including this week. Tomorrow we have Dr. Laura Dennison joining us. So make sure that you tune in, folks. Mark it on your calendar. Same place, same time. Zoom.dailywithdoc.com. That's Zoom. dailywithdoc.com. C-O-M. We are here for you. My name is Becca Dukes. Thank you so much again for joining us here on Daily with Doc and Becca. If you'd like to know more about nutrition and about becoming a certified holistic health coach, make sure that you check out coach.dailywithdoc.com, where you'll find a 2-minute video that shares the importance and the future of being a certified holistic health coach and the need for it. Because folks, many doctors are coming out and admitting that they did not learn about nutrition in school. We learned through Dr. Wallach's research, it is essential to be able to go from just barely surviving or not surviving at all to thriving. So until next time, we'll see you later, everybody. Thank you again for joining us here. Bye for now. Thank you. Welcome to Daily with Doc and Becca. This program is for educational purposes only. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual sharing their testimony. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to have the founding father of the science of epigenetics guiding us with the best options to obtain or maintain optimal health, Dr. Joel Wallach. Welcome to Daily with Doc and Becca. This program is for educational purposes only. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual sharing their testimony. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to have the founding father of the science of epigenetics guiding us with the best options to obtain or maintain optimal health, Dr. Joel Wallach.